election, I'm wondering, how involved are you going to be in this year's election, specifically in our community? You mentioned Alisi and Robach, and they hold two seats that have been identified by the Democrats who are trying to wrest control of the Senate.
Well, in terms of loss of control, that would be absolutely the worst thing that could happen to the state, because every single legislative leader would be from New York City. And, certainly New York City is part of this great state, but many of their interests, and, certainly we want to make sure that New York City prospers too, because the financial industry, that's part of our economic engine of this state. But I think you also need a balance. And the Senate Republican majority has been that balance to make sure that our urban areas are taken care of, but also suburban and rural communities are taken care of. And if I go through the accomplishments of Jim Alisi and of Joe Robach, the people will understand in their respective districts what they mean, what they've delivered. Record aid to municipalities, over a 17% increase this year, largest increase of any part of the state. Hundreds of millions of dollars of economic development money. The Golisano Center for Sustainability, this year alone, I think Joe brought in $10 million for that. And I can go on and on. I'm not going to read the list to you, but they've delivered for up here. And I think people understand that, and in the end, they're going to be very, very supportive of Joe and Jim and the Western Republican delegation.
But to what extent are you prepared to deliver for them, and more specifically in terms of providing money to help fund their campaigns?
And personal appearances, for example, too. How personally involved are you going to be getting involved, as well as the financial backing?
Well, obviously, we're going to help raise the resources, that are necessary. I do believe, as I, look at, some of the polling in their districts, people like Joe Robach and Jim Alisi. They like them. And I think they're going to be, very, very successful in their races. Sometimes, who the targets are in terms of an election, a lot of times that's hype. And a lot of times it's to deflect your attention away from where somebody else is going. But one of the things I've seen, and my grandfather always told me to be a buyer, not a seller. That means to watch and maybe not talk too much. And as I've been in their districts and meeting with people, they genuinely like Joe Robach and Jim Alisi, and I think that support's solid.